Hi, and welcome to the AP Biology Lab 12 Dissolved Oxygen Lab. I'm going to kind of do a hands-on walkthrough of how to do dissolved oxygen. Today I'm going to be using the Hawk Dissolved Oxygen Test Kit. It's nice because you can put all your chemicals in it and you can actually take it out in the wilds. I'm going to do this using chemicals that I have right here. It's kind of nasty, so you want to make sure that you've got lab coat, got some goggles, and you've got some rubber gloves as well. And so my head is about to disappear, but my hands are going to kind of talk you through the whole process. So to start, you've got to get some water. This is water that I grabbed from the creek that's right outside. It's kind of cold because it's springtime, and so this looks like it's around 13 degrees Celsius, and so that's like, I don't know, 55 degrees, something like that. So temperature is one thing that can affect dissolved oxygen. Next, I'm going to clear some of this stuff out of the way. And I'm going to get my bottle. So I'm going to take the lid off. And so when you do this, you can do it. This is just water that I've taken right out of the stream. What we're measuring is the amount of dissolved oxygen. And so I'm going to gradually pour this in. But if we have bubbles in it, then that's going to screw up our result, because what we're really trying to measure is those bubbles. And so you can see that I'm pouring it over the top. And usually you let it run for a few minutes, and so you get all of those oxygen bubbles out of the way. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cap it, force that extra water out of the way. So it looks like I didn't trap any bubbles in there. Okay, next I'm going to add my chemicals. And so there are two packets that I'm adding. The first one is dissolved oxygen packet number 1, and that is actually manganese sulfate. So I'm going to use my clippers to open that up and pour some in. Alright. There we go. Now I'm going to put my dissolved oxygen 2 packet in. This is actually 3 chemicals. We have sodium azide, lithium hydroxide, and then potassium iodide. So let me add and now I'm going to mix it up. Now if I start to see a brownish color, and you can start to see that as well, if I start to see a brownish color like this, that means that there's oxygen in the water. And so I'm going to shake it vigorously, and the precipitate is starting to form. And then I'm just going to let it set for a second. And when you let it set, you want to make sure that the flocculant, which is this solid material, sinks to the bottom. And so I'm going to let it sit like that. I may have to pause the video here for a second, but it takes a while for that flock to settle out. Okay, the amount of flock has settled down about halfway, and so now what I want to do is I want to shake it up again. So I'm going to shake it up again, really vigorously, and try not to get this on the computer. But now I'm going to let it sit again. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to let it sit until the flock goes down halfway again before we go on to the third step. Okay, the flock is settled out again, and so you can see that it looks like we have some oxygen in here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top off, and now I'm going to add the third chemical. This is called sulfamic acid, and what this should do is it should, when it mixes with that, it should get rid of that precipitate, and then it should turn. So it should turn it to a yellow color. And so I'm going to shake it again, and we should be able to get rid of that flocculant. Alright, so that yellow color means that there is oxygen present. Now what we're doing in this lab is simply a titration, and if you've never done a titration in chemistry before, what we have to make sure we have is a known quantity. And so the way this kit works is that they have a little vial, and that vial allows you to pour some of it in. This is a known quantity, so I'm going to pour a known quantity in here. Like that. And now we want that to go into this other jar, and so what I usually do is just invert it, and then I tip it like that. Okay, now to actually do the titration part, what we have is this, which is yellow. And now we're simply going to start adding drops of the fourth chemical in the experiment. This is called sodium thiosulfate. So it comes in a little dropper like this. And so this is the titration portion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one drop of it and add it. And between each drop, I'm going to mix it up. This is 4, and let me add 5. You want to kind of be careful. So that's 5. And you can see that it's still yellow, but we're starting to turn it towards clear. So that was 7. Now let me add an 8th drop. Sometimes you have to hold it up to something that's white. So that's pretty close. So that's 9. I think maybe if one more is going to do it. So let me add one more drop. So let me mix it up. And so now that's totally clear. And so 10 drops is how much we had to add to make that turn from that yellow color that we had a second ago to that clear color that we have right now.